Hey, before we start with the review, I want to tell you this will probably be my last video from this kitchen as it looks now because it suffered some derecho damage you haven't seen, so we're kind of getting it redone with some of that derecho money. So anyway, I thought I'd just let that won't take them long. Uh, YouTube will be notifying me that they've pulled my video. Anyway, so let's see. Define the term philosophy and explain its relation to the other areas of thought. Well, that's in like that initial opening video, and we can talk about some of these too. But let's see. Recognize and explain specific instances of applied philosophy. Well, the Asante video, that's where he's being a philosopher because he's questioning an assumption that somebody like me might make in teaching the class. I would say, well, no, this is just what philosophy is supposed to be, but he doesn't see it that way. He thinks, no, philosophy's more inclusive than you're making it. So he's thinking outside the box. Be able to explain and or list the main branches of philosophy: logic, epistemology, the theory of knowledge, study of knowledge, um, ethics. Those are the ones there in that video as well, the opening video. Construct and critically evaluate arguments by analogy and example. Well, argument by analogy is the comparison argument. You need to know argument by examples where you get a bunch of different examples. But let's just scratch that one. That may come back to haunt me, but if I accidentally put something on there about it, it'll be a gimme, because we didn't really do that yet in every class. So I don't know. Anyway, okay. Construct. I'm sorry, I'm so tired. I stayed up all night working on my own project. I'll tell you about that maybe someday. General deductive arguments. Now, the key thing you want to know about a general deductive argument is that the only thing that can be wrong with it is a false premise. So if you make the case that there's a false premise, you got to really do it like a lawyer would. Remember that. Don't say it's opinion. Don't say you don't know what words mean. Show it's false. Show it's false. No, that. Sorry, still getting over all the politics. Now, explain the problem of evil as well as common solutions. Well, you know what the problem is. Why do good things happen to bad people and bad things happen to good people is kind of the problem, but there's another way to put it, of course. But then free will, from evil comes good, God's testing us. All those theodicies are good of course, you've got access to all this during the test, but it's good to look over this before the test. You don't have to memorize it. Know Dostoevsky's examples of the problem in the excerpt from Brothers Karamazov, or Karamazov, I think. It sounds delicious, however you pronounce it. But the thing is, on that, actually have read that. So if I say, give me an example that he gives that's not in the book, you can say, well, they kind of the army made, it sounds awful, but like, they sort of shish kebabbed. Gosh, I shouldn't even say that, but you look at it, and then they nailed. So anyway, be able to give the free will defense and the objection to the free will defense. Well, for the objection, there is an objection in the video on the problem of evil that's given, and there's also Mackey's objection that if God's all powerful, then He really could make it so that we're free and we don't have all this pain and suffering. But we got into that. There are two sides to that. Natural evil. This is on the test. I just happen to remember. I guess the other stuff is too, but sorry, I'm rambling. I didn't get much sleep. All right, calm it down. Natural evil is evil that's not created by humans. Moral evil is evil that is created by humans. Why is natural evil more problematic for the free will defense? Well, it's easier to blame humans for things they choose to do. But, when there's an ice storm in Texas and people freeze to death, that doesn't, at least on the surface, appear to be a result of human free will. And if it's truly natural evil, it wouldn't be a result of human free will. So how do you explain it with free will defense? What is the difference between logical and evidential problem of evil? I'll just give you the quickies now. The logical problem of evil says that pain and suffering in the world logically shows there can't be a God. It's a contradiction to think there's a God who's all-powerful, all-knowing, and all-good in the face of that. The evidential problem of evil, like William Rowe believes, says, wait a minute, yeah, it's possible there's a God and there's all this pain and suffering, but it's just not very likely. We have good evidence that there's no God, but it wouldn't be a contradiction for there to be God and evil. All right, the next question applies to one class and not another, but for the Web Live class, we watched Twilight Zone. I didn't require you to do that for the online class because we don't ever meet, but who knows, we might do that for fun sometime. But there'd be a question about that for you guys. Explain William Rowe's case of the phone. Okay, I won't explain that now, but I did a good little short couple of slide PowerPoint that's on the Problem of Evil site that you can look at. It's quick and it explains it correctly. What is Mackey's main objection to Theodicies? There's another little PowerPoint short thing to explain that. But you remember Mackey's basic idea is that any theodicy you give secretly denies God is all-powerful, all-knowing, or all-good. So they all cheat, he claims. What is the problem of persistence over time? The problem of personal identity. Okay? Explain. Now, be sure to watch that video where I get all worked up about those friends of mine and then I drive over to the park, because that has everything in it. It's called A Case of Mistaken Personal Identity. It's got all the questions on personal identity. What is Sartre's take on personal identity? Well, remember that I've got a little excerpt for you of Philebus and Orestes in The Flies. So how he responds to that. And really Sartre is just talking about how radical conversion makes you into a different person. So since we choose who we are, you can choose to become a different person. So there's no true identity that you have for Sartre. After his confession, how does Chris try to turn over a new leaf at the end of the video? Well, you'll have to see for yourself. I don't want to do any spoilers here, man. From the 1,000-word reading, are day man and night man the same person? Why or why not? I think that's an opinion question. Gosh, I should remember. I don't even remember what that's about, but just take a quick look at the 1,000-word reading. Oh, Parfit's split brain cases. What's that supposed to prove? Well, I have a video called The Deepest Flux Xmas Special, and that is the one that has some slides in there that explain the split brain cases if you haven't seen it. Another Twilight Zone for those who are in the web live but not for the online class. Know what happens in the video The Miracle. Well, that's the one that talks about David Hume's argument. And remember this, Hume does not argue that miracles can't occur. He argues that you would never have good reason to believe a miracle occurred based on somebody else's testimony. What is Hume's main argument against testimonial evidence for miracles? And then, what is Tim McGrew's objection to Hume's argument against testimonial evidence in the Eric Manning essay? And I bet when you think of Tim McGrew, you think about Eric Manning. Or no, it's like that Taylor Swift song. When you think about Tim McGrew, you think about me. I bet. Okay, anyway. So, gosh, I hope this thing is recording. Let me check this out. That would be dumb if I had to do that again, and I can't even. Let's hear some more Barbara Streisand while I'm looking. Okay, now for the essay, there's the Harvard Brief Guide to Writing a Philosophy Paper, and you can look at that in the review section. But if you actually click on Take Exam 2 here, you don't want to well, that's weird. I don't see anything in there. Oh, Exam 2. What am I talking about? Take Exam 1. Yeah. Take Exam 1. Okay, so, yeah, there's the Harvard Guide under Take Exam 1. Under Review for Exam 1. And then Take Exam 1. If you click on that, now you don't want to open up the Exam 1. It doesn't actually let you open it up till February 24th anyway. But until you're ready to do it, because you have to do it in one sitting. So you'll have plenty of time once you open it. I give you more than enough time. But you do have to do it in one sitting. So have some time to take it when you do. But, 40 minutes or something will be the most it would take for the short answer part. Because I think it's all multiple choice, true, false. Then there's the exam test 1 essay. And you can see it on Take Exam here. And it says, write an essay that uses the Harvard Guide for Writing a Philosophy Paper on one and only one. Oh, there it is. And of the topics listed below. Your essay should be well written, accurate, well argued, reference the ideas and authors we study in this class, and philosophically interesting, blah, blah, blah. Oh my gosh. But it should include a thesis statement, your own argument, the very best objection someone could make to it. Well, just do the best you can with it and your response to the objection. And, finally, the topics are below that. I need to probably fix that. But here are your choices. You can write on the problem of evil, personal identity, testimonial evidence for miracles, and daily double. No, not daily, but those 3. So pick one of those and you'll write a little essay. It might just be 1.5 pages. It's just going to be a few paragraphs. It's an essay, not a paper. So now there's a long explanation of what to do to write that paper. And I tell you what, I'll let you just go through step by step, follow each step. Begin by formulating your precise thesis. In this paper, I will argue that. I give you example, then define technical or ambiguous terms and it says don't skip this step. Before I begin, you're welcome to use my very words for that. Let me explain what the problem of evil is about, or let me explain what personal identity is about, and then explain any terms you'll be using and so forth. So I'll let you look at all this, but I think this will be fine. Then you create your own argument to support your thesis. It gives you some tips about how to do that. Paragraph 1, and then paragraph 2, defend each premise. P1 claims, whatever you write. I think this is correct because fully defend the principle in the rest of the paragraph. See, you're going to do a general deductive argument. So you're going to have a general principle and then apply it to a specific case. Then to paragraph 3, to strengthen your argument, anticipate and answer objections to it. Well, we'll just do one. Just do one objection that someone could make to one of your premises, the best one you can think of. Please don't think of one where it's just easy to shoot it down because you'll get dinged on that. Make up the best one you can think of and then try to show that it fails. Overcome the objection. You can look at all that. The rubric, they like us to do that. Kirkwood does. But the truth is, just look at the 24 to 25 point part of that grading rubric, because that rubric because that tells you what you're trying to do. And don't let it worry you. That's just if it was perfect. If there were no chinks in your knight's armor, that's what it would be like. But if you if you make some mistakes, I'll give you feedback on it, but it's not going to be that big a deal. But just do the best you can. Follow this pattern to organize it. And remember, you've got my number. If you do get stuck on it, just give me a call. It's 867-5309. No, that's an 80s song. Really, it's, let's see, 1-319-693-6070. I'm pretty sure that's it. I may have gotten a couple of numbers out of it, but that's going to happen to you a lot in college, or at least it did me. Whenever I got a phone number, the numbers would always, no, I never got any, no, forget it. But anyway, so I think that's it for the review. But like I say, give me a call. If in all seriousness, if you get stuck or whatever, and I'll be at those office hours too. I'll make sure of that. Sorry I rambled so much, but like I say, I'm kind of excited. I really was working on a little project of mine about Sartre last night, so I got a lot done. But now if you're gonna dance, you have to pay the fiddler. And that's the advice for today. Anyway,